for fatality.
Fatality.
Gotcha. How do I start stream again? How do I start?
Alright, yeah, we're going. Oh, my screen is not the right size.
Yeah, I just saw time limit 10 minutes and something. Can't even read the top right. Oh, that word's bizarre. I see. Oh,
The word bizarre is the word bizarre is so
Fumo
bizarre.
cam.
I didn't realize I
What?
still had that Fumo cam text.
Why?
Fumo cam? Hey yo.
I don't have. Oh gosh, tell us later.
Yeah, no, that has nothing. Yeah, I'll talk about it later.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Storytime with Scrappy and Friends. My name is ScrappyFan92, and this is. Holy shit!
Mortal Kombat!
Thank
Dun,
you.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I did a short, brisk run today, and I probably blew out my lungs, so that's why Pedriva is narrating the story.
Nice.
I am.
Also, Pedriva's here,
Yeah.
Welcome back.
and Raider and Harry are here as well.
Tosageki!
Not wrong franchise, Harry. Get out.
No, I was just playing that like 10 minutes ago, so.
That was definitely more than 10 minutes ago. We've been talking about Kingdom Hearts for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't, yeah. What, time
I was
isn't,
this
time
close.
isn't, time
I
isn't
was this close to
illusion.
pulling out Project Diva.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I can't talk and play a rhythm game.
Of course.
I can.
Oh gosh. Pedriva, is that your actual like Twitch account, Pedrivo?
Yeah, it's Petrovex.
No profanity in my Christian fanfic stream.
Because he's
Yeah,
yeah, barnacles in chat.
I mean, there's a reason why I just say Ped. It's just easier.
Yeah. Yeah, my name is literally my first name spelled backwards in the acronym of my previous tag, so. Oh ho ho.
I know.
Confanity.
On, I don't.
Because, you know, opposite of pro.
For Pete's sake.
Does that mean we get to be nice to each other? Oh, I love you guys.
Love you guys too.
Well,
Yeah.
profanity isn't inherently mean.
That's true, that's true.
Hashtag wholesome.
Yeah, I think we're our subject today is probably like the least and somehow most wholesome fighting game franchise.
Yeah, obviously the most wholesome. Definitely didn't cause anything back in the 90s.
Oh yeah. Definitely didn't create a whole rating system because of it. Nope.
Today's, as you can probably guess, today's story is meant to tie into another anniversary because 8 days ago, U.S. Eastern 8 days ago was the 30th birthday of Mortal Kombat. If you don't know what Mortal Kombat is, you either had responsible parents or you're Japanese.
Oh my god, you're right.
Mortal Kombat is a fighting game series initially about an interdimensional tournament that can determine the fate of the realms. Created by Ed Boon and John Tobias, it started as a mishmash of various Eastern aesthetics before expanding to include dark fantasy elements, science fiction, and the like. The most frequently referenced visual aspect of the franchise, aside from the violence, is the litany of recolored ninja. They all started as palette swaps before gaining their own identities and distinct appearances. The subject of our fanfiction today pertains to two of those recolors who are actually not ninja. They are Lin Kuei, both of whom actually bore the title of, well, one of them. Today, we read One Shot Revolts in Your Shadow on Archive of Our Own.
Shall I
Stick.
begin?
I'm just going to read a summary, just provide some
Alright.
further context. Yeah, this fic involves the black-clad Spectre Noob Saibot planning to betray his master, Quan Chi. He wants to take over the Netherrealm by unleashing a horde from the Chaos Realm, and believes he can manipulate his brother, Sub-Zero, to help him. Sub-Zero, meanwhile, believes he can use this opportunity to try and save his brother's corrupt soul. Either way, the estranged brothers are going to have to spend a lot of time together.
Haha, Nether Realm.
Yeah, that's where the studio name comes from.
Wild. So this is chapter 1. 3 Shadows. The night had always been his ally. It lent him silence and hid him in its embrace. It locked away his secrets and buried his victims. Tonight was different. Tonight he did not belong. He was noiseless, that's a weird word, as he passed by the bristling fingers of snow-stuffed pines. But the shadows rejected him. They lurked from a density of their own that bore no relation to the sentinel stems of the forest, or the unblinking stars above. From the corner of his eyes, the shadows seemed to shift with a consistency of their own, with otherworldly properties and a presence that whispered of sentience. He shivered despite never He shivered despite never feeling the cold. The cold belonged to him. These shadows did not. As he drew closer to the appointed place, he felt unfamiliar prickles sit at the back of his throat. The ghosts of anxiety, nervousness, and old, worn fears reared heads. This is a weird sentence, I'm gonna restart. The ghosts of anxiety, nervousness, and old worn fears reared heads he thought had long been crushed. He was no longer a student or a child. He had only confidence, self-assurance, and purpose in all his actions. He knew his abilities and his limitations. He knew the strength of patience and power of discipline. He could assess a task from a remote distance and know precisely how to act and how to succeed. He had become a master in all that he did, and was peerless in his vocation. And yet the concerns that the boy in him had felt years ago surfaced just now. Each step forward in the soft powder snow seemed to take him further back in time. Old self-doubts, confusions, and insecurities chiseled away at him until he looked down to check that he was not the small child he felt he had reverted to. The glacier blue of his uniform was almost black under the cover of night. His fully gauntleted arms were thick, muscled, and ready. He swallowed and tried to take strength from that. He realized he had stopped. The slight wayward fall of snowflakes turned meandering on the still, chill air. His breath came out in wreathed clouds through the through the vents of his mask. He frowned in frustration at his weakness, and berated himself for feeling it now of all places. He took a moment to ready himself and pushed on. Oops. The glade was well beyond the grounds of his temple. It was a nowhere. I think, is the 8 supposed to be there? No, it doesn't look like it. It was nowhere in particular that he was surprised his contact even remembered. The first thing he noticed when he stepped out into its silence was the bright face of the half moon that became visible in the clearing. The second thing he noticed was that no moonlight fell upon the glade. Despite lying open to the eyes of the stars and moon, only shadows collected in this place. Visceral shadows. He saw them clearly bending and moving now. He willed himself not to back away from the unnatural spectacle. This was meant to unnerve him. This was all deliberate. The owner of shadows would only take amusement to see his discomfort. The shadows lifted liquid from the earth and formed with a controlled lethargy into the shape of a figure. Against the night, the figure stood inkier than the darkness. A heavy cowl over its features could not mask the bright ethereal glow of its wide eyes. So, who's Boone? Or Boone? Who's Noob?
Yeah, this is the thing. I kind of hopped in here and didn't ask who's who.
We get to figure it out now, guys. Here we go.
Time to choose your character, folks.
Who's your character?
It's just like a fighting game.
Yeah!
Yeah, I'll take Sub-Zero, so have fun with Noob.
All right. I'm surprised you had the courage to come.
The spectral figure spoke with the echoed darker places, almost obscuring the voice he knew so intimately.
I am surprised you had the humility to ask.
The wide eyes narrowed with displeasure, and the figure took a menacing step forward. He kept himself from backing off, but decided against baiting the wraith further.
If it's true that you've captured a fraction of skill and discipline in my absence, then you may yet be of use to me, Kuai Lang.
Kuai's insides did a combined churning that married frustrated anger to a repressed urge to impress and be needed by the creature before him.
Why have you why have you asked me here? Why now of all times have you decided to renew ties with me, brother?
Make no mistake.
The wraith hissed so vehemently that Kuai Lang flinched.
You are no brother of mine. This changes nothing. You are not an ally. You are not even an asset. You are merely a tool to me. I care nothing for your reasons for being here. Leave now if you expect anything more than to be treated as a timely convenience to my ambition.
That cut deep. It always cut deep, but he did not let the hurt show on his face. He kept a ready, even serenity in his expression. He let the quiet gather between them for a moment to make extra sure that his voice was cool and emotionless when he spoke.
As I said before in my letter, I am happy to help you in any plan to destabilize the Netherrealm, so long as it in no way harms anyone in or the chances of Earthrealm.
He sighed. Sometimes communicating with his older brother felt like treating with a trying, testy student, albeit a particularly lethal one with the reserve pool of emotional leverage over him.
I ask one thing in return of you.
Forget it.
The wraith snapped.
You don't know what I was going to ask.
That slipped out plaintively before he could spool his responses again.
If you think I'm going to If you think I'm going to give up any of the power I've gained from my current condition,
I want to talk.
That shut his brother up.
I want the opportunity to sit down and talk with you, at no risk to myself. Just a single conversation.
you think that will do any good?
The wraith sneered. Kuai Lang's heart fell. The driving motivation behind agreeing to do this was a faint, clinging hope that it might give him a chance to save his brother, to somehow undo whatever had sped him down this path to damnation. They both knew this, of course, and he knew his brother meant to use this to his own advantage, preying on Kuai Lang's hope and desperation to further the wraith's own ends.
Conversation. May I have it? Is it so much to ask in exchange for my services?
Empty wide eyes bored into him. He held their gaze evenly through his. I'm just gonna restart that. He held their gaze evenly, though his insides chilled under their scrutiny.
Very well. You shall have your conversation. In exchange, you will follow my lead and orders to an absolute. Is this understood?
Kuai hesitated. All his common sense and instincts screamed that this was not a good idea. The responsibilities he left behind, the dangers ahead, and not to mention the extremely untrustworthy company that he had made abundantly clear on previous occasions that Kuai's life was deemed expendable if it hindered advancement. All this gnawed at him. Only his heart, wild and desperate, pushed him forward. He had spent all his life disciplining himself to make decisions like this in the most cold and rational way possible. His brother knew this. They both knew it, and again, they both knew that this opportunity weighed on Kuai Lang at all the right pressure points.
I understand.
He said quietly.
What is it you would have me do?
The wraith relaxed, and for the first time, Kuai noticed something in his posture that reminded him of the man he'd been long ago. He was comforted by this, and a small, distant part of him relished in the prospect of abandoning this weighty responsibility as Grand Master of the Lin Kuei, and for a moment becoming again the eager student ready to follow through on the most dangerous mission set before him.
Oh my.
For real, dang.
Take off your clothes.
This has been spicy. Kuai stared at him. It was late autumn in the foothills of the Himalayas. Even a cryomancer would be foolish to test those temperatures. The wraith was already turned away with his attention to the shadows. His hands worked like a puppet master, forcing shapes to unfold from the darkness. When he turned back, He had in his arms a folded black guard with dark greaves and gauntlets set on top. His eyes flashed when he saw Kwai had not moved. Kwai noted the anger, and before it could be voiced again, to pull off his Lin Kuei tunic and uniform. The Wraith dumped the clothing before him.
Change into this.
He commanded. He again returned his attention to the shadows. He bent down to the earth and produced one last item. He stood and tossed it onto the greaves. It was a high-bridged black half mask, exactly like the Wraith's own. Kwai looked up when he saw it, finally catching on to what was going on.
I'm pretending to be you?
Nothing new there, then.
Kwai allowed that. Under the circumstances, that was quite amusing. He reached for the mask quickly to hide what was becoming burning embarrassment on his cheeks.
For the record,
Kwai said as he put on the full black padded clothes and mask, all a perfect imitation of the Wraith's own.
I was not trying to be you. I thought only to honor you by taking your name. I meant to avenge you and...
How did that work out for you?
The question was cold, and already aware of the answer it summoned. Kwai blinked at the unfairness. He had defeated his brother's killer, and fully intended to finish the culprit off. An unforeseen and painful reunion with his clan had seen Kwai dragged from the scene before his vengeance was complete. It was not worth relating. The matter would be seen as an unfinished failure by his brother anyway. He had always dealt in perfection and absolutes. As he knelt one knee in the snow and finished dressing, Kwai glimpsed another figure moving in the shadows behind his brother. The two seemed to finish each other's movements, working in a perfect tandem. The second figure seemed suddenly to look Kwai straight in the eye. The Wraith turned and looked down at him. Kwai glanced away, feeling somehow embarrassed.
Stand.
Kwai stood.
Meet Cybot. You're going to be working very closely with my shadow, Kwai Lang. I trust that's not too unfamiliar a task for you.
Kwai was glad for the heavy hood. Yeah, that's weird. Kwai was glad for the heavy hood and high mask as his face involuntarily burned with indignation. He kept his temper, however, and sullenly regarded the figure behind his brother as it stepped forward. Its shape lingered somewhere between 2 dimensions and 3. It glistened with a semi-liquid consistency. Kwai's skin crawled as it surveyed him with eyes that were a pale mockery of the Wraith's blinding white ones. The shade turned abruptly from Kwai. It walked forward and stepped into the same space his brother occupied, vanishing. Kwai retracted.
No need to be alarmed.
The Wraith sounded amused. He rattled a tiny bottle that he brought out from the folds of his sleeves. Kwai watched him warily.
Mask off.
Kwai obeyed. The Wraith stepped closer. Kwai felt suddenly naked without the mask to shield his expressions. He closed his eyes just in time as his brother sprayed paint across the top half of his face. He spluttered in the fumes and turned away quickly, blinking watering eyes as the chemicals swarmed his tear ducts.
Bastard.
He swore softly, and he thought he heard a chuckle in response.
Come.
The Wraith said. Kwai heard him begin to walk.
Wait.
He said, trying to sound every bit as authoritative as he didn't feel. His burning eyes would not stop flooding with water as he blinked blindly. The forest was only dim shapes half-formed behind the blur in his vision, and he heard his brother move further away.
Wait! Bihan, I can't see!
Before he could even think, he felt a tight grip on the front of his new cowl. He instinctively writhed to get free, and brought his arms in to defend himself, but was slammed hard against a tree. His head hit the trunk with force, and his hands went immediately to the tight grip around his throat. He blinked sightlessly, then his instincts kicked in. He slammed his arms down on his attacker's forearms to free the grip at his neck, then brought him up quickly towards his opponent's face. He caught his attacker with he caught his attacker with fist to the chin, but as he did so, received a swift punch to the face, then a second, then a third.
Enough!
Kwai obeyed, though his body remained tense and his arms curled up before his face. He blinked again, dizzy from the hard jabs to his jaw. Shapes. I said shapes and then I said japes. God dang it. Shapes before him slowly started to come into sharper view. He became bitterly embarrassed that the sting of the paint made it look like tears were running down his face. In defensive fury, he spat.
First you blind me, then you attack me? If this is your idea of collaboration, then I am finished with...
Do not ever call me that name again.
I paused. He blinked the last of the pain away and saw clearly the sharp relief of his brother's mask, lit by the glare of his undead eyes. The wraith released him.
Now hurry up.
Kwai ran his tongue over the place where his lips had split and swallowed down his anger and impatience. He cursed himself for the first, but not the last time, for undertaking this venture. As he fixed on the new mask, he hesitantly followed the wraith, gingerly avoiding the shadow that stretched long and visceral behind him.
What should I call you?
He said as he caught up to him. The wraith did not turn to him, and at first he thought he had again earned its ire.
You do not need to call me anything. Your part here is not to speak, only to obey.
After a moment he spoke again.
If you must, you will address me as Noob Saibot.
Kwai hesitated. The name sounded strangely meaningless to him. It hid the things he knew about this man behind another curtain of obscurity.
As you wish.
Kwai followed in silence. It was easier not to be in his line of sight. It merited less unwanted attention. He was already feeling more emotionally rattled and drained than he had in years.
It's the one area I always needed more discipline in.
He told himself.
This is an exercise. This is an exercise. It's all an exercise in self-control. I need to confront this. I need to confront him. And not just force a specter to the back of my mind. Even if I can't help him, I need to do this for me. I need to become stronger. I am Grand Master of the Lin Kuei, the greatest clan of assassins in all the world. I defeated Scorpion of the Netherrealm. I defied the Cyber Initiative. I brought down Sector and all those he corrupted. I survived the Mortal Kombat tournament, the invasion of Outworld, and reformed the Lin Kuei. I can survive whatever he throws at me.
It was not the dangers of whatever task lay before them that concerned him, however. He had faith in his own martial prowess and command over stealth. His dread was the inevitable, biting interaction that he knew would shred him in the worst ways possible. Somehow, Bihan had always known what was going on in his head, and knew just the right words to say to tip Kwai into self-doubt, confusion, and shame at somehow failing to live up to an expectation.
This will do.
They had stopped at another innocuous glade. Kwai Lang patiently waited. His brother turned to face him. Kwai watched him warily, ready should there be another attack. He started as the wraith's shadow separated from him and stood to one side, arms folded and watching. Kwai tore his attention from it to regard his brother. Or to regard his brother more so, yeah.
Copy my movements.
They stood before one another as reflections in the mirror. Kwai immediately bent himself to replicating his brother's movements simultaneously with him. Small open hand gestures were subtle and difficult to imitate in a dim light. He followed the lines of the wraith's kata, trying to read the way he directed his energy and dropped his weight. His style had changed much since Kwai had last trained with him. All he had to go on were the old giveaways he recalled from the way his brother moved. He had spent so many hours trying to keep up with Bihan that those telltale signs had become a language in themselves. They spoke to... My dog just keeps barking. I don't know if that's being picked up or not.
I never
But-
heard anything.
Okay, because this has been bugging me. That's the reason why I keep randomly stopping.
I think
Okay.
I'm hearing it now.
Well, probably not because
It's
I keep
very
talking
faint.
loudly. Yeah.
Very faint.
They spoke to him of weight distribution, of a stance about to drop, of taut energy wound up, ready to explode forth. He could not tell if this was a full form or a seemingly random series of moves. If it was a form, it was not one the Lin Kuei taught, nor one that he was able to completely comprehend in its purposes. He knew he followed exceptionally well given that he had never seen the moves before, but felt himself choke up at the inevitable shortfall in perfection he knew was expected from him. He could read that distant disappointment in the loose swing of Bihan's limbs as he finished the exercise.
If you let me go over this again, I can get it right.
He said quickly and defensively.
Only it's very different from before, and
Excuses. Bihan never had any time for them.
just once more.
He looked up hopefully.
You will have practice soon enough. My shadow has a sentience of its own, and you will be acting in its place. I have already calculated your imperfections into my plan. It is not important that you are exact. You need only fool a casual observer. Most of Netherrealm's inhabitants are lacking in perception anyway.
The brief relief he felt at not being reprimanded for his shortcomings was crushed by the knowledge that they had been anticipated and planned for.
We are ready to go to the portal. And remember, no ice.
Kuai stopped suddenly.
What?
You heard me.
Now he was worried. A plan that involved him entering the Netherrealm and not using his ability to summon ice. He had worked to bring his command of the elements so seamlessly into his fighting style that to move without it was almost inconceivable. He could barely separate out his powers conceptually from the rest of his movements. This, coupled with everything else, dealt him a significant blow in confidence. Something dangerously close to panic curled inside him. This was only exacerbated by his desperate attempt to conceal it. He breathed in and out slowly, trying to calm himself and think of his own meditative techniques. In the old, thick stone walls of the Lin Kuei Temple, he walked as a bastion of self-control and calm, extending it gently to his students whenever they struggled with a move, a difficulty, a confusion, or frustration. How could such confidence be ripped like a rug from under him so quickly?
You asked for my aid.
Kuai drew himself up.
I can do little that will be helpful to you if you hinder my skill set in such a way.
He kept his voice monotone.
You will be even less helpful to me if everyone can see you are obviously an Earthrealm cryomancer. You will also, incidentally, be dead very quickly.
Kuai Lang tried to keep his gaze steady.
This will severely handicap my ability to fight. If you do not wish me for that purpose, then why am I here?
He stopped himself. The two of them locked eyes. Kuai could not bring himself to say the alien-sounding name. Instead, he dropped his gaze and fell silent.
It is my hope that traveling through the Netherrealm will not be too arduous. As I reach the appointed place and begin the ritual for opening a portal to the Chaos Realm, however, it may well be that Quan Chi will have caught wind of my betrayal. Netherrealm is filled with those that would sell anything and everything to him in a moment if it bought them some momentary reprieve. Even having become a master of multitasking of late.
Both he and the Shadow folded their arms in amusement at this.
I doubt I will be able to hold off what is sent at me whilst trying to complete the ritual. At that moment, you are free to use any ability in all hell. Do I make myself clear?
Kuai Lang nodded slowly.
And
Kuai hesitated.
will you allow me safe escort back to an Earth realm portal?
I can hardly say.
The Wraith said dismissively.
If the both of us still live, so to speak,
He added dryly.
then we will live to see the hordes of chaos run rampant through the Netherrealm. That in itself is likely to be a predicament to work around.
But you will try, will you not? I have responsibilities here.
To the Ling Kuei, yes,
He said, clearly entertained.
I know.
Kuai searched his eyes earnestly.
If you dare.
You will have your escort back to Earthrealm.
Kuai indicated his acceptance. This entire affair was sounding more and more absurd the deeper he got. He kept those reservations guarded close, though, and said nothing of them.
And
That
is
was
the
chapter
end.
1.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I thought that was
Hooray.
gonna take way longer than that. Oh my god.
Nah, I'm kind of a golden narrator, you know. I go through that stuff fast despite stuttering on every other word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's just I don't know like what time in the stream we started reading, but yeah, we're only like
30 minutes.
30
barely
minutes?
over 30 minutes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, usually this would take like an hour.
It's because I'm so focused on reading, I can't say something stupid to slow down the time.
I've started trying to dial back on comments, and it's actually kind of hard to comment when I don't know a thing about the
Yeah,
source
right.
material.
I know
That too.
nothing about Mortal Kombat, so I have nothing to say about this.
Like
we
I
found
even
a
looked
perfect
up
story then.
I looked
Yes.
up Noob Saibot's voice, and I was like, I am not making that voice. I think I'll just go with a deep one.
Just have
Uh,
to sound like you're
oh,
about to die.
the Sean Chiplock's current. He's the current voice. He's very raspy.
Yeah,
You could
yeah.
probably,
I think it was I think it was like the most recent Mortal Kombat that I pulled.
you might have a better chance emulating Jameson Price's take.
Yeah,
A name I have no connection to.
yeah.
Just
He
look up
voiced
old noob soy. Old noob voice.
Yeah.
Noob Mortal
It's just-
Kombat 7, I don't know.
It's not raspy. It's just deep.
So I guess this is gonna be like one of the shortest episodes we've ever done.
Yeah.
Do you want to move to chapter 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chapter 2 does seem longer than Chapter 1, so...
Oh, actually, yeah, that's a good point.
You know what? We don't have we
We could take our time.
don't have any anchor stories right now because Tanner's AWOL. So
Yeah.
let's let this one burn. Let's let this one simmer a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's only got 7 chapters.
yeah.
Yeah, it's got 6 more remaining.
Yeah, I assume this is just gonna end up being like our main story for a while.
Yeah,
guess.
you know.
I mean, it's October. We might do Mortal Kombat's pretty spooky, but we might do like a more designated Halloween story down the line.
Yeah.
What?
These chapters just get longer and longer.
They do? Oh, that's so
The
fun.
Yeah,
last-
I'm looking at the scroll bar, and like chapter 2's scroll bar is shorter than 1, then 3's is shorter than 2, and 4's is shorter than 3.
No, okay, nothing should be as bad as Total Drama Equestria.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
probably
definitely
not.
That was
okay.
ridiculously long.
Yeah, they're definitely not that length. This one just has a lot of narration.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do just get longer for every chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, but chapter 7's a really short epilogue. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
just really funny to imagine the authors just say, I must outdo my word count every time I post a chapter.
I must go
Right.
bigger, better.
It doesn't even happen consciously. It just happens. Like
Yeah. That's something I end up doing whenever I stream a game. I always have like the next stream has to be longer than the one before it.
Oh god, if I did that, I would come to a point where I'd be streaming for like days.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not gonna do that for any longer game. But like when I played through Neon White, the first 2 or 3 streams were like an hour, then 2 hours, and 3 hours, and the final one was like 8 hours.
Oh my god. Well, I guess I shouldn't say anything when I did the fucking Lenin stream.
Oh yeah.
My fucking god.
Yeah, it's pretty great, you know, since I usually do my stuff at like 2 in the morning. I was actually up at the proper
That
time.
used to be me.
Yeah,
I
at
do
this
not
point, I'm
recommend.
not going above 6 hours.
Mm,
Unless I really enjoy the game.
yeah. For me, it's usually if I feel like I'm near the end, I'll keep playing until I beat it.
I tried to average around 2 to 3 hours, but I can go below or above depending on how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like 3 hours is just a good baseline time.
It's a good baseline, but not what Twitch wants.
Yeah, if you are streaming every second of your life, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what would I stream? I would stream like a cat cam at that point.
I'd watch
Not playing
that.
anything, it's just a cat cam, yeah.
Well, a lot of people would watch a cat cam.
Do
Yeah.
you think? Okay, so like, I need to get like one of those really small cameras, right? And like tie it onto my cat's collar. And then just have that be the stream.
Day in the life of Ped's cat.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
also like these streams where like people leave the stream on when they sleep, and it's like
Yeah.
I could never do that.
Subathons.
Yeah, subathons.
Nah, that ain't happening.
You gotta keep going. Well, you don't want to record yourself sleeping?
Not really, no.
That's crazy. I used to kick
I
a
mean,
lot when I was asleep.
there's also the fact that I don't sleep in this room, so
Oh, that's even better. You can just be like, I'm sleeping in another room. So then they like eagerly
in the
await
same
you
room.
casually opening the door.
so they literally just look at a sofa and I don't know, some plushies, I guess.
Yeah, dude. Okay. So like, Snoop Dogg did that once. it wasn't intentional, but they accidentally left
left
us
it
on
on by
for like 8
accident.
hours. And he casually came back into the room, and he had this like what the heck kind of face on. It was
stream's
really
still going.
funny. But yeah, you know, Snoop Dogg had like thousands of people just watching a stream that had him not there.
A stream where nothing was happening.
Nothing was happening, but you knew that it was where Snoop Dogg lived.
I do remember, I don't know, it was like a clip or something of someone streaming Majora's Mask, and like he just abruptly fell asleep, and then like everyone was just like screaming in the chat, it's like no,
Wake up!
wait,
I've not seen any clips of that, but I definitely saw a meme of it. There was a screen grab from chat saying, "The moon, it's falling."
yeah.
And like the guy was just like head back in his chair.
Yeah.
Final day did not worry him in one bit.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I still got 24 hours.
The end of Termina? What's that?
What's that?
Oh god.
Oh
It's
god.
that. What's that?
The
Yeah, you
moon,
able to
it's
extend it
falling
to
is one of my
the
favorite
moon
things.
is
For
falling, yeah.
no reason.
The moon is falling. The moon.
Yeah.
I
Dude's
think
just
we're done
taking a
here.
second. Oh,
Yeah, I think we're just
Yeah,
talking
I
about
think we're done.
nonsense.
No, we need to talk for one more minute so it looks like a respectable episode length at 40 minutes, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could Harry, you title the stuff. You give the most generic titles for these episodes.
You're welcome.
Mortal Kombat thing.
Hey, you know, if we read it in
Hey,
one,
at least you remembered to title your stream. I forgot. I forgot to title it yesterday.
yeah, you know, if we read more than one Mortal Kombat story, people are gonna be a little confused now. Thanks.
No. That'll be Mortal Kombat thing 2. It's easy. Okay.
If you're going to do that, at least use the Roman numeral to match the game.
Yeah. Now then people will be like, what's Mortal Kombat thing I? Do I pronounce it
No, it's-
Mortal Kombat thingy?
No one's gonna think.
I mean,
No,
I
no.
always have the
You could
hardest.
randomly have like a random 12-year-old who just really likes Mortal Kombat. It should happen.
I think by the time they're 12, they would know about Roman numerals.
Nah,
Yeah.
nah, nah. All they play is one specific game, and it's Mortal Kombat 11. So they just think that that's a part of the title. They pronounce it Mortal Kombat Shi.
See,
I just have the hardest time with titles.
Mm.
Like the freaking epic Mickey playthrough. Like what was it? One part was just like Oswald. I guess I don't know. Titles are hard.
Yeah, if you look at my stream titles, I have something similar going on, except for with Neon White because that game gives you content for titles.
my titles are just like, okay, first one is going to be what I'm doing. The rest are going to be like more of the thing, still more thing,
Still more thing.
still the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like Neon White had this specific scene where the main character says, "Yes, yes, slay demons" or something like that, and I was like, "That's perfect. I'll use that as the next one's name."
Can't
And I
hear,
just kept doing that.
I can't hear Slay normally anymore.
She's eating that bread.
Weird. I love this game.
Bread.
I guess to explain the Fumo Cam thing. What?
This was it.
Yeah. Basically, what was it? I did some speed runs of a few games, and I had the live split on the left, but I couldn't have like the game take up the rest of the space. So I just kind of, I just added the Fumo Cam thing as because I just had some extra space left, and it would just be a funny little thing.
That's
good.
epic.
Yeah.
That's all. That's why I put Orin. That's why I put the Orin GIF in my streams.
Yeah, like,
It's to fill up space.
like when you have like when you can just put like fill out space, you just put stupid stuff in it, and it's great.
Yeah.
I'm a little lamer, you know. I've been setting up to play through Ease, the entire Ease franchise on Nightmare since I hadn't played those games on Nightmare yet.
Oh, that's gonna sound awful.
Yeah, yeah. And the first game, of course, is in a 4:3 ratio instead of 16:9. So
Yeah.
it doesn't fill out the screen properly. So there's like this portion on the right side. I was like, okay, I'll just put like an image there. So that's what I did. But I also think like, man, I could add so many random things to that side if I want to. I think I'm
It's a
gonna have
Toho
a death count.
experience.
Yeah,
All the games are 4x3.
4:3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. I got nothing to really add to the story itself, so
So no thoughts on it at all.
Oh, I was
it wa-
vibing with it. I liked narrating it, even if there were some awkward typos in there. But
I mean, I'm also more tired than usual, so my brain's not exactly there at the moment. But I mean,
it do
yeah.
be pretty late over there.
yeah, I mean, it was fine.
It's a whole other day. You're in the future. Yeah, I personally liked it. I like where it's
Yeah.
going. It's real serious like. I'm waiting for the what's the line? What's the tag? Something canon. Yeah, canon typical
Oh,
violence. I'm waiting for
violent.
that.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
that
oh,
was certainly
We'll get there.
interesting.
We'll get
Yeah.
there in a few weeks.
In the
Yeah.
I'm enjoying getting into the Sub-Zero's head. Like this is, I'm not used to him being kind of, what's the word, on the back heel, so to speak. Like
yeah.
he's always just, he is quite literally like the coolest guy in
The
Mortal
dude.
Kombat.
Like
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
don't-
too much about Mortal Kombat, but I know that Sub-Zero's that dude.
Yeah, he's the guy. You
He's the blue guy.
Is the
The
guy?
guy.
Is he the guy that has like the Shredder outfit?
in one game, yes,
Okay.
and it's one of his best costumes. Also, I would like to point out that the word conversation was not spelled with a K. I am disappointed, and I think we should just stop the story.
Shit. Oh, I guess the Mortal Kombat story's canceled.
Yeah, see you next time
Okay.
when we read something else.
This story has been concluded.
We're done here.
Bye.
See you next week for a completely different story.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm like, this is interesting.
Oh, if we were actually gonna stop the stream.
I was really hoping we were. That would have been perfect.
I thought we were. I thought we were.
Yeah, that's, yeah, Scrappy
No,
kept
Harry,
talking. Come on, man.
Every stream has to end with you like splicing in some footage of like just the fatality screen from the games.
No, I'm good.
Fatality.
I
Get out.
don't really want to look at that.
I didn't say the violence. I meant the actual, just the
fatality.
title, the text.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd have to.
Fatality.
Finish him.
I'd have to like
Fatality.
find that.
Fatality. Friendship.
I can find it for you.
Wait, no, can we end this one with friendship?
Yes.
Yes! That's so good. I love those.
Yeah,
The real
so funny.
friends we made along the way.
was I
Oh,
gonna say?
yes.
Sub-Zero. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this works out. I'm not sure where in the timelines this is supposed to take place in.
Well,
Like, the story was written in 2016, so it's after Mortal Kombat X. After it released, I don't know if it takes place like
you see,
after Mortal Kombat X.
Is it actually called X? Or is it
It's pronounced X.
this is the issue. This is the
Oh
reason
my
why people would be confused. You
Yeah.
see? I was right all along.
Oh!
They don't know their Roman numerals.
Mortal Kombat VIII.
VIII.
My favorite Final Fantasy game is Vi.
Bye.
Vivi.
VV.
My favorite Final
That's
Fantasy,
Final Fantasy X, though. Come on.
my favorite Final Fantasy game. XIII2.
Oh, XII minus 2? Yeah, that's my favorite.
-2, yeah.
I-
11, yeah, yeah.
So,
One of
wait,
these-
okay.
11.
Yes. So the story was published after Mortal Kombat X was released. I don't know if it's meant to be taking place in the reboot timeline, but yeah, I don't know. I'm overthinking this, but I'll have to ponder that for a while. So chew on that, folks.
Ridiculous, I tell you.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, I think that's all I've got for now. Like, take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.